Hi everybody, I'm Ali Tawakoli and this is part 2 of the UML tutorial series. In this part, we want to talk about use case diagram. So if you're ready, let's get it started. So use case diagram, what is it about? A use case diagram defines how your system can solve a problem. It's considered for high-level requirement analysis. It is so general and don't get into details so much. So a use case diagram actually shows the system requirements from a high level. It doesn't get into details so much. So when we have defined different pieces for our project, we can draw a use case diagram for each piece. This is an example of a use case diagram, as you can see. We have actors, as you have seen our first part of the tutorial, and we have explained what an actor notation means. These are use case notations, which actually show a functionality that should or must happen in this system. We have also explained this notation in the first part too. This is our system boundary. In system boundary, we will draw the functionalities that should or must happen in the system. I mean, the use cases. So that's why we have drawn the use cases inside of the system boundary, and we should draw the actors outside of the system boundary. I mean, the student and the teacher. And these lines are relationships. We will get to relationships later. And this note over here is actually a use case description. So in a use case diagram, we should write such a description for each use case with all of these topics. So in our example here, I have written this description for the teacher course use case. But in reality, I should write such description for each of these use cases. All right. So let's see for whom a use case diagram is. And don't worry, I will go up back there to understand the use case diagram more clearly. But first, let's see a use case diagram is for whom. It's for business stakeholders, system designers, and developers. And that's it, because as you have seen, the use case diagram doesn't get into so much technical details. So it's for anyone like business stakeholders or product owner who likes to understand the system requirements and the system functionalities and what that system should or must do. So what is purpose? Used to gather requirements of a system, used to get an outside view of a system, identify external and internal factors influencing the system. It means actually the actors. Important elements. Important elements are actors, which actually is something that interacts with the system. It can be a human or an internal or external application. Use case, a system functionality, and the system boundary, which I have explained what is it about, and relationships. So points to consider. How to define an actor? Well, we have to ask ourselves two questions, and if the answer to these questions is yes, then what we're going to consider as an actor is actually an actor. So the first question is that is it a human being? Yes. So it's an actor, like a user. Is it something that you cannot modify in your system? If the answer to this question is yes, so then it's an actor again. like a chat system database, you can only read from this database. So this is an actor. You cannot modify it in your system. Or a third-party library database, which you should only read the data from it and cannot modify it. So in this case, this is an actor. How to define a use case? A use case is actually a requirement, a functionality in our system, which has a clear pass and fail criteria, like create a new conversation, send a message, and etc. All right. So, what is the include relationship? The relationship that we have taken a look at it in the diagram at above. But before I get to this, let me say this: a use case is a functionality. And uh, as we know, when we are programming and developing a functionality, different steps should take to accomplish that functionality. We call these steps main flow. So each use case has its own main flow. All right. So all right, let's see what is an include relationship. If two use cases have similar steps in their main flow, then instead of repeating ourselves, we create another use case and connect it to the already existing two use cases via include relationship. So, as an example, because use case A and use case B have similar steps in their main flow, we don't need to repeat ourselves and repeat all of those steps in the use case A and then again repeat them in use case B. Instead, we can create a use case C which has all of those repeated steps in itself, and use case A and B can include it. In this way, the use case A and B will have a dry main flow and we didn't repeat ourselves. All right, what is the extend relationship? We might have some optional steps in our use case main flow which are not required for our system, but well, we can have them as an option. So we can put all of those steps in a secondary use case and connect our primary use case to that secondary use case via extend relationship. So imagine this. We have a send a message use case which in its main flow we are going to check the message delivery too. So because checking the message delivery is an optional functionality, so we can have a secondary use case called check message delivery and connect our primary use case, which is send a message, to the secondary use case, which is check message delivery via the extend relationship. So that's it. That's all there is to the extend relationship. Now let's see how we can draw the use case diagram and what are the steps. The first step is to draw the use case diagram. First draw actors, then draw the system boundary, which actors are outside of it, and finally draw use cases inside of the system boundary. And that's it. You will have a use case diagram. Now, what is the second step? Write description for all of the use cases one by one. So a use case description should have all of the following that I'm going to explain, each of them one by one. The use case name. Write the name of the use case we're going to describe. Related requirement. Describe what the system shall and must do in general. Goal in context of that use case. Describe the use case's general final goal. Precondition. We will list the conditions that must be true so that our system can start operating. The preconditions that must be true for that functionality so that that functionality actually gets started. Successful end condition. List successful conclusions that the system should achieve for that use case or, let me say, functionality. Failed end condition. List failed possible conclusions. We actually list the moments that system must end processing before it goes through the entire use case. For example, if a user enters an invalid user or pass, then we will not create an account for that user. We will stop processing, and this is a failed end condition. Actors. List the actors that are taking part for that use case. For example, user or teacher or student. Triggers. List the triggers. The list actually shows the events that happen before your system triggers. For example, a user create a new conversation or send a new message. This is a trigger that will start our functionality actually. Steps are steps of execution, or what we have called the main flow. What may happen in the system step by step. For example, for creating an account use case, we will have these steps. Number one, user logs in. Number two, user info will be validated, and etc. Extensions. Here we list the alternative ways that may happen in the main flow. So, for example, we might have step number 1A, user pass is invalid. And then AB, this is what happens after the 1A, user exits. Please also note that in here we also mentioned the optional functionalities that in the diagram we have mentioned them by the extend relationship. So if we go all the way up here, these are the relationships. This is the include relationship which we have explained earlier. These, because in the main flow of these two use cases we have similar steps, then we have created a secondary use case which is called give exercise and connected these two primary use cases with the include relationship to the secondary use case. And this is again true about the extend relationship, because asking the questions functionality is an optional functionality in the use case, in the review a course use case. Then we will connect this with the extend relationship to the review a course use case. And these are our actors, and as the student actors is connected to the learn a course and pass a course and take exam use cases, because that's what a student must or should do. And we have connected teach a course, review a course, give lesson summary, and take exam use cases to the teacher, because that's what a teacher should or must do. And in this note I have written the use case description for the teacher course use case. As you can see, related requirement is teacher must teach a course to the students in the classroom. Goal in context, at least 60% of the students must learn the lessons in the course. Precondition, I have listed the preconditions for the teacher course use case. Because teacher course use case in my example here only needs one precondition, so we only have one precondition, which is minimum 1 students must be in the classroom. Successful end conditions, we have 2 successful end conditions. Course be taught to the students in the classroom. Students learn all the lessons in the course. Failed end condition, the teacher resigns. More than 60% of the students be absent for lesson. Actors which are taking part in this use case diagram, use case, not the diagram, use case, the teacher course use case. The actor which is taking part is teacher. Triggers, teacher teaches a new lesson, and the main flow, that's what should or must happen step by step so that the teacher course use case or functionality can be actually achieved. The first step is a course starts, then sessions of that course start one by one, then teacher teaches a new lesson in each session, and then we will include the give exercise use case, which is our secondary use case. Teacher gives students exercises. Then I have explained general explanations that what this use case, give exercise use case is going to do. Then in the fourth step, students learn the lesson. 5, each session ends, and 6, finally course ends. Extensions of this use case, teacher course use case. 2A, one of the sessions cannot be started because more than 60% of the students are absent for that session. 2B, the course is cancelled. 3A, teacher resigns in the session. 3B, the course is cancelled. And that's all there is to a use case diagram. So I hope you enjoyed it. So see you in the third part of the our UML tutorial series, activity diagrams. And please don't forget to subscribe to be notified of our upcoming tutorials. See you soon.